Everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Today I wanted to show you a very common problem that happens in a lot of gardens to a lot of different plants, and it's called blossom end rot. It's something that affects the fruiting of different plants, and there's several reasons why it could be happening. So let's talk about what those reasons are and what you can actually do about it. So to check out this little zucchini right here, you'll notice on the end of the fruit, this blossom end right here, there is some rotting happening right there, and that's why it's called blossom end rot. Now, blossom end rot is caused by a calcium deficiency in the fruit. Calcium is used by the plant to actually create the cell walls that form the basic structure of the fruit. And when it doesn't have the calcium going to it, those cell walls fail, and so does the formation of the fruit. Now, it can happen to a lot of things. It can happen to peppers, tomatoes, zucchini, squash, all kinds of garden plants that you really don't want to see that on. It can happen to. So what is the cause of that though? Okay, we know it's calcium deficiency, but why is it not getting enough calcium? Now, the calcium deficiency in squash and zucchini and other plants can be traced to a few simple issues. One is the pH. If the pH of the soil is not correct, then the plant system doesn't have the capability to pull those nutrients out of the soil and bring it into itself. And so you want to check your pH and make sure that it's okay. If it's a pH problem, simple treatment of a lime or adding some bone meal and stuff like that may help. Another possible cause is damage by rodents like voles or insect damage in the root systems. If you damage the root systems of the plant, it can't bring in those nutrients either. So look for holes that are caused by voles or things like that. Maybe dig around a little bit in your soil and see what's there, and then treat whatever that issue is as appropriate. And let those root systems grow. By far the most common problem that causes blossom end rot is having too much rain at the beginning of the season. At least that's the case here in Tennessee. In Tennessee, we get a lot of rainfall early in the season, and that floods the soil, which prevents the plant from being able to bring in those nutrients, because it needs a good balance of oxygen and moisture in order to properly pull in those nutrients like calcium. And when it doesn't have that, it can't do it. So it's not bringing in those. But what's really great about that part of the problem is that usually corrects itself, because there's usually plenty of calcium in the soil to take care of anything that the plant might need. It just has trouble bringing it in. So once the weather moderates and things are back to normal again, it doesn't have any issue with blossom end rot. It pretty much corrects itself. So what kind of solutions are there to fix this problem once it's appeared? Well, the first thing to do is, if you have damaged fruit, go ahead and pull it off. There's no reason to keep it on here. We're just going to completely get rid of that, and we'll throw it in the compost bin, because by pulling this off, we say, hey plant, work on other things. Don't work on this particular fruit. You know, use the energy you've got, use the calcium you've got for building up other parts of the plant. So usually that's the first step, and that's enough to take care of it if it was the water issue. Now, if you want to do more than that, there's a few tricks you can do. You can use antacid tablets and water them into the soil, because those are pure calcium and you're adding the calcium in there. But I will say that most of the time your soil already has enough calcium to take care of the problem itself. The problem was the water and not being able to uptake those nutrients into the plant. As a preventative, you can go in and use a foliar spray that will have some calcium in it that can be absorbed through the leaves and through the stems and go directly over toward the fruit a little bit more. So that will lessen the need for those cell structures to have calcium coming up through the root system. And that may help a little bit. That's usually only going to be able to help if you do it before the fruit forms. So another thing you can do is take a jug of milk that needs rinsed out. Okay, maybe you just finished one in the kitchen and you're about to throw it in the recycling bin. So you fill it with water as you're rinsing it, and then you use the milk residue that's left over to water your plants. That milk residue is going to have some calcium that's going to go into the soil, it's going to get pulled up into the plant, and that's going to work for some of those future fruits to come along and help prevent some of the calcium deficiencies. It may only help a little bit, but you know, it does not hurt anything, and it's not a bad way to just rinse out your milk jugs and water your plants while you're at it. And so to do that, you just kind of pour the water from the milk residue all around the base of your plant. So I'm going to use it on this one. This is a zucchini. And then I'm going to hop it here and use it as a preventative on the squash plant that we have next door to it. This squash plant hasn't produced anything yet, so maybe I am doing this at just the right time to prevent any issues with it. We'll see though. Now this can happen in squash, tomatoes, peppers, all kinds of plants. And the thing is, most of the time your soil already has enough calcium in it to take care of the issue. So I hope this video was helpful to you. If you've ever had issues with blossom and rot in your squash, zucchini, your tomatoes, your peppers, or whatever kind of fruit you like to grow in your garden. And just know it is a treatable condition. It's not something that's the end of the world for that plant, and you can definitely get produce out of it. You just have to take care of the condition. And in some cases, like I said before, it does take care of itself. Once the rain and everything kind of moderates and turns to normal again, you'll be fine. So I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Please like and subscribe this video. Follow along for more garden content this summer and beyond. So thanks for watching.